Hello, my wonderful friends. Meg is here on a beautiful day back in the library. We're in chapter 2 of Circe. Oh my God. There's so much here. I think someone, if they weren't asking the right questions, could miss the power in chapter 2. Matter of fact, I'll go as far as to say chapter 2 might be the most important chapter in this whole book. Why, Magus? Because it deals with Prometheus. And would you do me a favor? Grab a pen and a paper and just write down a few things. I promise you, it's worth it. I want you to write down, what is the fire of Prometheus? What was that fire that he was punished for giving to the humans? Then I want you to put quantum potential. I'll promise you something. I'll do this. And matter of fact, if I don't keep my promise, you can unsubscribe from me, never come back to my channel again. When you see the thumbnail with this beard, this beanie in this library, you can just flip past it. But I promise you, if you will understand chapter 2 of a fictional book, Circe, it will change your life. A lot of the questions you've had will be answered by the fire that is quantum potential. I'm going to give you a few examples, but I got to ask you to do something. Give me time to make my case. I have pages and pages of notes. I can hardly read. It's written all over. It's not going to be so much an entertaining video as it's going to be a video that it's one of those that you'll see it was a pivotal point in your life. When did my life change? When I read a fictional book, chapter 2, about quantum potential. My friends, it's everything. It's what I love about archetypes. So Prometheus here, it's from Greek mythology, right? But as you study the different religions and archetypes of Prometheus, you see it in Babylon, in Sumeria, in Persia, right? You'll see an idea, an energy with a message. And if you'll get this message, my friends, it can change everything. Quantum potential. I want you to write this down. Psyche plus fire equals magic. The Magi, when they got the fire that we call Asha, which is quantum potential, which is magic. In the Zoroastrian temples, the temples of the Magi, they've kept fire burning for thousands of years to honor that fire. The word magic was named after the Magi. They understood quantum potential. They understood the power of our minds. We talked about this in chapter 1. Our minds are our superpower. We're going to get into that. I told you, this is more than just a fictional book. These stories, there's so much in it. Okay. I want you to also ask yourself this question. So Circe, she's in the halls of her father. Prometheus is being punished, and they have a fury that is carrying out the punishment in the halls of the Titans. The Titans believe, because he's already been punished in front of the Olympians, the Titans believe now Zeus is doing it in front of them is kind of a warning. Don't cross me. This is what happens, right? Now get this. Circe goes. This shows the kindness of Circe. Matter of fact, I got to talk about the kindness of Circe real quick. She goes and brings him a cup of nectar. The other gods could care less. Matter of fact, they were staying there just to watch him suffer because they're fascinated with watching a god suffer. They had no mercy, right? Nothing ripping at their heart. Circe, on the other hand, She's a little different, isn't she? She is feeling like, won't anyone say a kind word to him? He's family after all, right? And after they get bored of watching his torture, they go off to their halls to eat. She goes and offers him a cup of nectar, holds it up to his lips. He says, thank you for your kindness. She says, I didn't even know if I was kind. That's a good sign. If you're trying to be good, if you're trying to be kind, if you're trying to do right and it's hard for you, it means you're not good, you're not kind, you're not right, right? Because you're having to try. From her, it's just natural. Her heart is, I feel sorry for this person. It feels unjust. I want to ease his suffering. She didn't even know she's kind. It's just what she is. I love that. So now she asks him, she says, is it true that you refused to beg for pardon and that you were not caught, but confessed to Zeus freely what you did? Why? Now get this. Here's the question. He says to her, perhaps you will tell me why. Why would a god do such a thing? That's what Prometheus wanted us to do, to think, to question, and then so much more. And you know, Prometheus, it's actually the word for forward thought, forward thinking, right? In Zoroastrianism, we have spentimenu, which is forward thought, progressive thought, right? And it's the very Holy Spirit of Mazda, Lord Wisdom, right? Prometheus here in this Greek mythology, he could see the future. So that's why he was willing to give himself over to Zeus, because he knew what the ending was going to be, because he had the forethought. Now, what's beautiful about this in Greek mythology, Prometheus is actually the creator god of men, right? And I believe that men will be his salvation. And he saw that. And I'll tell you why. But first, we got to touch on the story a little bit. And like I said, I promise, if you stay to the end of this, I'm going to show you how this Psyche plus fire makes manifestation, how it changes your life, the power of the subconscious mind that has been kept from you, right? The elites have it, right? Go to Rockefeller Square in New York, right? The financial hub. There's a golden statue of Prometheus. All the billionaires know the secret of quantum potential. They know the importance of information and the news that you consume, the entertainment you consume, the ideas that you consume, because what you eat and consume becomes you. And then you're just repeating their word with your superpower, your mind, and you're creating their dream, but you're living in your nightmare. My God, I just said something right there. So look at this, because you need to see this, because this is how they fool you. How do you know who's God, who's good, right? Here you got Zeus, right? The Olympians. You've got the Titans, but neither of those really look very good, do they? They each have attributes that aren't good. And that's what I love what Prometheus said. He said, not every god need be the same. Every god need not be the same. He's chosen not to be like the Titans or the Olympians. He's got a little more heart, like Circe. Wants better, wants gooder, a gooder god, a godder god, right? Better. And that's why he started creating his own world. And with forethought and wisdom, he could see the future. And he saw with the creation of man that he would get to a point where he's omnipotent. Right now you can see he isn't, but he will be because of man when he's whole. Because man's superpower, the mind, so now he may be chained now to the rock, where the bird comes and eats his liver out every day. And the chains were made that cannot be broken, right? Said Zeus himself cannot break these chains. But, my friends, the thing that the gods fear that is more powerful than they have is the magic, is the fire. That's why they didn't want the men having this fire, because with their psyche, their mind, and the fire makes magic, and the magic is more powerful than the gods, and they fear that. Those same chains that Zeus cannot break, man can break with a thought and set their creator, their daddy, free. And can I share a real story with you guys? You know, you've heard the stories of family and the power of it and the supernatural things that can happen. I'm sure we've all heard the story of the car that was on the child and the mother lifted the car up off the child. My friends, and it also happens the other way. You know, and when I was just a kid, a small kid, I was at, it was like one of these downtown, I don't remember if it was like a car show or something, a little fair going on in our local town, and a fight broke out. Two men, very scary. When two men, the deep voices ground, hitting blood. I mean, it made me a little nauseous. And this one man was getting beat up pretty bad by another man. A kid, my age, small kid, something rose up in him because he saw his daddy getting beat and bloody. And where I was feeling nauseous and sick and wanting to run and hide, something else rose up in him because that's his daddy. And he turned into a lion. And that little kid beat up that grown man that had just beat up his dad. And it didn't make sense visually what I was seeing. It's like the mom lifting a car. It doesn't make sense in the world. Like breaking the unbreakable chains. And he knocked a grown man out cold and didn't stop. They had to finally, everyone try to pull him out. He was just going for it. And I remember as we were growing and I saw him in high school, I ended up taking Kung Fu with him and building a bit of a friendship. And I told him, I'll never forget that day. I'd never seen anything like it. And I think Prometheus saw this. He's given his children everything he knew. It's said that he gave them all the wisdom he had, gave them the fire, taught them, loved them. Now it's up to them what they're going to do with it. And I think he knew that when he's chained to that rock, something was going to stir up in those children, not my daddy, and break those chains. My friends, they're going to rise up and see how to use that quantum potential with their psyches. My friends, it's with your focus, with your intention. And you lay hold like a dog on a bone. My friends, and that's Magi magic. That's fire. That's beautiful. You know how you can tell the difference from the gods? Here's what I like the difference from Prometheus and Zeus. You know, in the story, Zeus got mad at Prometheus because he wanted Prometheus to make men to give Zeus power. Because the gods, they get energy and power from the worship of men. How does that work, Magus? Because when men are saying, I believe in you, you can do anything. You are all powerful. I bow before you. All power, all glory to you. And they eat it and they become it because our mind is our superpower and we're feeding them. Right? And the difference from a loving father, a good daddy, a good creator, and one of those gods, my friends, is the loving daddy is willing to risk life and limb for his children. Give all for my children. Right? The monster gods that are supposed to be good, that everyone worships, right? They want it all. They want to take. The real father gives love, information, teaching, truth, protection, provision. I give you all. And I want you to take on top of that what I have and surpass me. I want my children to be greater than I am. Makes me think of Jesus. Greater works will you do. I go to the Father, the loving Father, and I send you the Holy Spirit. And greater works will you do. That spirit of truth and fire. I want you to be better than me. You don't hear that from those other gods. They want you to build them up. What happens now? And here's what I want you to see. What happens when you start saying, I believe in me? I believe in truth. I believe in the all-good, loving Spirit. I believe in the all-good, loving Father, the good God. I believe that we are one. I believe in me and my power and my mind and what is possible. Oh, those gods don't like that. That's blasphemy. Don't do that. I'm going to get you, right? But they're getting too weak. My friend, we're breaking daddy loose. We're breaking the chains. We're bringing the fire of truth. And we're starting to wake up to who and what I am. My God. I can tell you stories, guys. And my concern about these stories is they're too much. Oh, Megas, that's too much. It is too much. But if you can start to learn that the supernatural is really just natural, you've just been lied to. You can do and be anything. You got to start telling the true story. And you'll start seeing the true story. You got to stop feeding your energy to those false light gods. You got to break those chains. Let Daddy free. Let the all-good, loving Father free. The God that's just good, that doesn't love and hate, peace and war, kill men, women, and children, don't care about you. You know, I love the story of Prometheus there, where Zeus wanted his offerings, right? And so Prometheus, he split a bull in half. And so he let Zeus pick which half he wanted. He's going to give one half to the humans, his creation, one half to Zeus. But he put all the good meat in one half, but then covered it, made it look ugly. And then he puts all the fat on top of the other piece that just had the bones and skin and the hoofs and teeth and stuff. And so Zeus, right, he wanted the one that looked the best, right? Always about me. Right? So he wanted the one that looked the best. But when he got past the fat layer, he'd been tricked. It was just the bones and the hoofs and the teeth and the thing, hide and hair. And the humans got all the good stuff. That's a daddy. I want my kids to have the best. My kids are everything. I love you so much. I'll do anything for you. I'm going to make you the best. You're going to even outshine me. That's how you know a good daddy, my friends. So beautiful. So these stories, I want to share a few with you. I know they're too much, but you know what? We're a book club here. My God, we've read Wheel of Time, right? All these fiction, these books, this sci-fi and fantasy. If you can't think of it as real, then think, well, Megas is just telling me fictitious stories. That's okay. You can learn a lot from fictitious stories. So one of the first interactions I had with this quantum potential and psyche and mind. I was in the car with my dad, and I had, I don't want to use her name. I had a friend. I had a friend, and she was walking to work. Beautiful young girl. And a carload of men pulled up, and they said, grab her. They jumped out of the car. They're going to grab her. She said she called out on the name of the Lord. At the same time, I'm in the car with my dad. I hear Spirit speak to me and say, pray. I say, what is it? And I go, is it Mom? Spirit says, no, it is. Gave me the name of this person. I don't want to use her name because she hasn't given me permission to share this story. Gave me the actual name. So I started praying. And then pretty soon bubbling up out of me is what you would call light language or praying in tongues, where I felt all the passion and the feeling, but I didn't know exactly what I'm praying for this. I didn't know exactly the situation other than she's in trouble. Then I got a complete peace. It was taken care of. We didn't have cell phones at this time. Show you how old I am now and how far back it was then. But I looked at the clock and I said, okay, well, when I get back, I'm going to ask her what happened at exactly this time that Spirit spoke to me so clearly and told me to pray that you were in trouble. So I saw her later that day and I asked her, tears started rolling down her eyes. And she said, I can't believe you knew that. And she told me the story about the carload of men and they jumped out to grab her. And she said she called out on the name of the Lord and they froze like statues. This is quantum potential. There's different potentials that could have happened, different timelines and outcomes. She could have been raped. She could have been murdered. She could have been never seen from again. Or she could have seen them freeze like statues. And she said she took off running, looked back, and they're still frozen in the same position. She said she she didn't know what it was, couldn't wrap her mind around it. Why are they just standing? What's going on? And I told her that story. My friends, the power of the mind. You see people, it seems like they got everything. Why don't I have anything? Why does everything go right for them and nothing for me? Because you're repeating their story. You're worshiping them. You're so great. I worship you. I believe in you. It's time you start believing inside of you. The power, the good, the truth in you. Start telling a better story. Start taking your power back. One of my favorite all-time stories. What time? 21 minutes in. Who's still with me? Go to the comments. Let me know. You guys know I love to do that. Then I know who's really with me. One of my all-time favorite stories. And I want you to see the difference from these two also, but how they're the same. Still quantum potential, but the different ways it can work. So I was having this unsettling feeling, to put it lightly. I knew something bad was about to happen, right? And the way that works, I saw a great analogy. Picture like a river going down, and then it hits like, say, a piling. And as the river hits that piling, it can send ripples out in front of the piling. And that's what we pick up on psychically. So this river of mind and thought and time, and that's how we can transcend time. That's how we have that foresight, like Prometheus, how we can see ahead of time and know things. My friends, because when there's so much energy, we can kind of pick up on it and then discern it. It takes work. I think of like a martial artist. Right? Any of us can punch and kick, but they get it down to a science by practicing. It's same with your psychic and working in that quantum field. So I was getting that energetic. I knew it had something to do with my kids, and it was something bad coming in the future. So I told everyone. I told my ex-wife, told my parents, everyone I knew, watch out. Keep an extra eye on the kids right now. Something's going on. They had heard enough of my old stories to know. Keep an eye. Something's going on. Okay, so one morning, in that place between awake and asleep, speaking of awake and asleep, I got to tell you what I got about our chapter 2 from Awake and Asleep. I hope I can remind myself. So in that place between awake and asleep, Spirit took me in spirit to the bottom of my ex-wife's driveway. And there's a steep drive that went out into the street. And my kids would like to go down their scooters and bikes and shoot out into the street. And usually they could see up and down, make sure no cars are coming. Usually it's a pretty slow street, family oriented. But this one day, it was just set up bad. There was a car parked here on the street, so my son couldn't see down the street. Then there was a car speeding down the street right as he's coming down. And then her new husband, my ex-wife's new husband, is mowing the lawn. So she's yelling for my son to stop. He can't hear because of the mower. He can't see the car coming because of the parked car. And so my ex-wife, she called me that morning and said, I could see they were going to intersect, right? Coming down. So in that place between awake and asleep, Spirit took me to the bottom of that driveway before this happened, before this was taking place. and told me to put up a shield of faith. I didn't know a shield of faith. I was picturing when I was a kid, like a Roman shield and a sword. But no, it was like a force field, and it separated the street from the driveway. And again, but this time I know what I'm doing. Where before, with that last story I told you, I didn't know about them freezing or what was taking place. Here, I was seeing it clearly. I was putting up a force field at the bottom of the driveway between the street. And I was given, again, that light language. And then I got that complete peace. Finally, that bad feeling I had for quite a long time went away. I was like, oh, thank God. Got a call just a little later from my ex-wife, now explaining to me about my son and the car, her yelling. He can't hear, he can't see it. He gets to the bottom of the driveway and bounces off of an invisible wall. She said, her words, bounced off of an invisible wall. My friends, and those of you who've been on this channel for 10 years, you've heard story after story, testimony after testimony of things that are unbelievable, really, aren't they? It's supernatural. But can we get to a place where we can start to see there's no separation of supernatural and natural? Can we start to live in that place? I think we can. And I think that's the message that's coming to us from chapter 2 here. I think we need to realize that fire. And you know, I talked earlier about the fire that they keep in the Zoroastrian temple for thousands of years. But that fire is inside of you. Inside of your temple. If you will go inside that truth, that understanding of who you are very, very powerful. Matter of fact, I go so far to say is nothing is impossible for you, because that's the way you were created, with a purpose in mind to break those chains. That us and Daddy are going to come together and we're going to do things different. We don't have to be like the other gods. My friends, we can do it better. We can do it right. We can do it good. My friends, with that fire of truth. That's what I got from chapter 2 of Circe today. Powerful, beautiful. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. And you know this. I love, love, love you.